So I think this summit in Johannesburg is extremely important. You see the way gold is just in the doldrums at the moment. This to me looks like a market which nobody knows what to do. Okay, it's also holiday season and all the rest of it. But, this is sort of a holding pattern. Nobody wants really to take any positions. And of course, if the speculators are not prepared to take positions, then the bullion banks can more or less muscle the price wherever they want.
Alasdair Macleod is the head of research for Gold Money, a testament to his expertise in the field of finance and precious metals. In this video, Alasdair emphasizes that momentum is building for gold-backed currency valued in gold. Reports are rife that the BRICS alliance is working on creating a new currency to settle global trade that could be backed by gold. BRICS members China, Russia, and India are accumulating gold on a large scale in FY 22 and 23 and FY 23 and 24. China purchased 21 tons of gold to its reserves in June 2023. Saudi's petrodollar rejection led Gulf Cooperation Council to shift from dollar oil payments and also setting stage for Johannesburg event. Saudi Arabia is not dropping the petrodollar yet, but their activity suggests they might be considering other options. Alasdair also emphasizes the gold commodities link, highlighting gold efficiency in backing currency. BRICS countries should first foster a sound financial architecture which can help them benchmark for pegging of BRICS currency. There are inherent risks with the proposed commodity price-linked price discovery of BRICS currency. The proposal to back the BRICS currency with a basket of commodities like gold, rare earth minerals, and energy products presents challenges and potential opposition from India and Brazil, whose strengths are in service and agricultural products, respectively. As per Alasdair, the Sergei Glaziev reinforced this notion in an article for Russia's Vedomosti, pushing for the ruble's golden ruble 3 gold standard return. Now the conditions for the golden ruble 3.0 have objectively developed. In 2023, all these circumstances will objectively affect the change in the stereotypes of investment policy in the world, from risky investments in complex financial instruments to investing in traditional assets, primarily gold. According to Saxo Bank analysts, in 2023, increased demand for this metal will lead to the fact that its price will rise from the current $1,800 per ounce to $3,000. Now we are presenting you the glimpses of Alasdair Macleod insights from his recent interview with Liberty and Finance. Before we continue to delve into this discussion, we request you to subscribe to our channel and activate the bell icon for timely updates.
I mean, the amazing thing is that the mainstream media hasn't reported on this at all. We're talking about, if you like, a BRICS Plus meeting, which is going to happen in Johannesburg on the 22nd to the 24th of this month, which is only, 2 weeks away?
1 week.
Yeah. So this is going to be a major event. The background to it, I think if you go back to after sanctions were first imposed on Russia, President Putin stood up at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, and I think it was in June last year, and basically said that any country which holds dollars or euros must be mad because they weaponize them against you. This has obviously happened to Russia. The point was he was addressing 81 official delegations among the 14,000 attendees at that conference. 81 official delegations. So that's a very large number of countries. I mean, I think the total number of countries around the world is something like 170. So we're talking about nearly half the world in terms of governments attended that, heard this, and got the message. Since then, what's happened is that the Saudis in particular came out against the petrodollar, said, we're no longer going to take payment for oil exclusively in dollars, welcoming deals with China in yuan and all the rest of it. Once you had Saudi doing that, the whole of the rest of the Gulf Cooperation Council came out and did the same. So they're all attending this jamboree in Johannesburg. And of course, when you get big players like that coming out and saying, we're no longer allied exclusively to America, then you can see that a whole raft of other countries, virtually the whole of Latin America, has come out to say, well, we're actually interested in joining this, and we will accept payment in currencies other than dollars. And the work I've done looking at the relationship between gold and commodities is quite simple. And that is, if you take a basket of commodities and try and use that as some sort of backing, you're far better just using gold, because that is the representative of all those commodities in effect. And so Glaziev also came to this conclusion when he wrote an article for a Russian Moscow business paper called Vedomosti, where he basically described why the ruble should go back onto a gold standard. He called it, the golden ruble 3. Now, so what's that got to do with the new trade currency? Well, one point about it is that that article was co-written by his number 2 on the Eurasian Economic Union Committee. So they're thinking the same way. And I personally believe, I don't have any evidence for this, but it seems a reasonable supposition that the work that Glaziev has done on a trade settlement currency will form the basis for the proposed BRICS trade settlement currency. So I think what we're looking at is, and it could happen quite quickly, we're looking at a new gold-backed currency. Now, that currency would not be priced in, sort of dollars, but backed by gold or something like that. No, it would be priced in grams of gold. So it would be completely divorced from the currency scene, as it were, the fiat currency scene. That's really the only way this can practically work.
During the interview, Macleod highlighted 1983 regulations that gave the Bank of China exclusive oversight of national gold and silver holdings. Among the buyers, the People's Bank of China, the Chinese central bank, was the largest. It added 21 tons to its gold reserves during June, the 8th consecutive month of purchases. The World Gold Council noted that since the Chinese central bank began reporting increases in November 2022, gold reserves have grown by 165 tons, an increase of 8%. Of this, 103 tons has been bought in 2023 alone, making it the largest buyer this year till now. India too features among the top gold buyers. According to the Shanghai Gold Exchange, over the past 15 years, customers have seized 23,000 tons of this metal. Alasdair mentions that Russia amassed around 10,000 tons in precious metals funds, while Iran also holds substantial gold. Russia's finance ministry announced late last week that it would start buying currencies and gold again in August after 18 months of selling or sitting on the sidelines as Moscow looks to profit from recent high oil prices, according to a report from Reuters. Let's get back to interview.
Regulations which appointed the Bank of China the monopoly in terms of acquiring and managing the state's gold and silver holdings. Now, part of this is obviously reserves. At that time, they didn't really declare any reserves, really. I think something like 300 tons was all they showed. But these regulations dated back to 1983, when the bear market in gold was more or less just starting. Because, the peak price was, I think, 1980, something like that. So it was not long after that peak. Obviously, when China decided that it accumulated enough gold as a state, at that stage, the People's Bank set up the Shanghai Gold Exchange and permitted ordinary people to accumulate gold. And in the early days, they even advertised on television, go and buy gold, it's good for you or something, whatever the line was. Consequently, from what we can see, the gross acquisition measured by withdrawals from the Shanghai Gold Exchange's vaulting system currently totals around about 24,000 tons. So this is in addition to the gold which China originally accumulated. Furthermore, China invested very heavily in gold mining, and it became quite rapidly the largest gold miner in the world by tonnage. So all that is accumulated. And if you go and talk to anyone on the sort of, the refining industry and so on and so forth, and you ask them, do you see any Chinese refined bars? The answer is no. In fact, I did get someone who admitted that he saw a few, but he thought they had been illegally smuggled out of China. So, I mean, basically, gold is like a black hole. The gold has been going into China, for the last 40 years, 50 years. I mean, it's just gone out of our system. Russia came to this very, very late. And indeed, Russia was selling all its gold into London in the calendar year before sanctions. So only since then have they started to accumulate. But we're looking at reserves in that context mainly. But there are also two other funds. There's a state fund and there's a state precious metals fund, which my sources tell me probably contain a further 10,000 tons of gold. Also, I have other sources telling me that Iran has got probably in the region of 7,000 to 9,000 tons, which I can understand, but I rather left them out of the calculations, which is interesting. There was a time when people were shipping gold into Tehran by plane. I mean, there were couriers going literally, with as much as they could carry, one after the other. And that must have been back in about 2010, 11, 12, around about then. So what you have, in effect, is you've got the big power blocks in Asia have very, very definitely accumulated gold. And we've now got Saudi Arabia joining them. There is a lot of gold, not so much in government hands, because that's not the way it works in Saudi Arabia and the crucial states, but in the hands of the royal families and the very, very wealthy businessmen in those areas. They have accumulated quite a lot of gold.
In the near future, global currencies and trade dynamics are on the cusp of transformative changes. The rising interest in gold-backed currencies suggests a possible overhaul of financial structures. Could this shift redefine the global economic order and pave the way for increased stability? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to show your support towards our channel by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos covering more interesting topics. Thank you for watching.